Psychological warfare, anatomy of real examples. Pay attention. The difference between someone who knows history and someone who understands psychological warfare is that one remembers events. The other understands mechanisms. Today we are going to dissect the examples. Not just what happened, but exactly why it worked. Case 1. Gideon and the quantifiable illusion of power. Situation. Inferior strength. Without real possibility of direct victory, Gideon does not try to compensate for weakness. It makes something more efficient. Manipulate the enemy's interpretation system. In that historical context, there was an implicit military convention. Each group of soldiers had a light source. A torch. That means something critical. When a soldier sees a light in the darkness, he doesn't see a light. See a military unit. Now understand this precisely. Gideon divides his small army into many groups. He gives each soldier a torch. This breaks the normal correlation. Instead of one light per group, now you have one light per individual. Result: the perceived number of troops is artificially multiplied. Now add the second element. Trumpets. In this context, not all soldiers carried a trumpet. It was a symbol of command or large units. So when you hear a lot of trumpets, you do not interpret many sounds. You interpret many leaders, many units, big army. Now combine both. Multiplied lights, multiplied command sound. And finally, night attack. Night eliminates clear visual information. The human brain, in conditions of low information, fill in the gaps with threat scenarios. It does not assume neutrality. Assume danger. So the enemy does not calculate. React. Final result. They don't see a small army with lights. They see a massive army surrounding them. And that triggers panic. Technical lesson? You don't need to lie. You just need to manipulate the enemy's interpretation rules. Case 2. The Mongols and the terror economy. The Mongols were not just destructive. They were efficient. They understood that violence has a cost. Then they optimize. When they destroyed a city, they left survivors. This is not error. It's design. Those survivors become transmitters. But here's the important detail. Humans do not transmit information neutrally. They amplify the emotional. So the stories that spread were not, "We lost the city." They were, "It was a total massacre. There was no escape. It is impossible to resist." This creates something specific. Expectation of defeat. An expectation modifies behavior before contact. Practical example. A city listens to these stories before seeing the enemy. Low morale. Leaders doubt. Soldiers anticipate defeat. When the Mongol army finally arrives, does not face an intact city. He faces a city already psychologically weakened. Some don't even fight. Technical lesson? Terror is not the goal. The objective is to externalize the cost of violence. Let a battle pay tenfold. Case 3. World War I and the construction of the moral enemy. A key change occurs here. The war becomes industrialized. But also, propaganda. The problem. How do you get millions of people to accept massive sacrifices? Answer. You don't appeal to logic. You appeal to morality. Specific stories begin to spread. Classic example. Stories about enemy atrocities. Some real. Many exaggerated. But all designed to achieve something specific. Dehumanization. Because when the enemy is human, there is limit. When the enemy is a monster, there is no limit. This changes the mental framework of the population. They are not supporting a political war. They are supporting a moral crusade. And a crusade is not negotiated. You win or you lose. Technical lesson: you don't need to convince an action. You need to redefine the moral context of that action. Case 4. Rumor as an autonomous system. The rumor is not just false information. It's a system. It works because it has 3 characteristics. 1. Ambiguity. It cannot be easily confirmed or denied. 2. Relevance. It should directly affect whoever hears it. 3. Anxiety. It must connect with an existing fear. Example on the front. There are no reinforcements coming. Ambiguous. Not easily verifiable. Relevant. Affects survival. Anxiety. Confirms existing fear. Result. Rumor does not need centralized repetition. It self-propagates. Every person who listens to it transmits it. And each transmission adds credibility. I heard it from someone else. Technical lesson: the best message is the one you don't need to repeat. Case 5. Identity division as a weapon. The attempt to separate German Catholics from their national identity. It was not superficial propaganda. It was a structural attack. Because identity works as a hierarchy. Typically, first I am German, then Catholic. Propaganda tries to reverse that. First Catholic, then German. This creates internal conflict. When there is identity conflict, the action becomes inconsistent. A soldier can obey a military order, but question it morally. And that doubt reduces effectiveness. Technical lesson: don't destroy the identity. Fragment your hierarchy. Case 6. Radio and the partial credibility model. Effective propaganda is not completely false. That would be inefficient. The model used was verifiable truth plus guided interpretation. Example: a real event is reported. The listener verifies. Confirm that it is true. Confidence increases. An interpretation is then introduced. The listener does not completely separate the two. The credibility of the truth transfers to interpretation. Technical lesson: the truth is not the goal. It is the vehicle. Case 7. Japan and cultural reprogramming. The problem here is not information. It's culture. The Japanese soldier does not surrender. Because your mental framework does not allow it. Then you don't attack the action. You attack the meaning. Surrender means dishonor. New narrative is introduced. Survival means responsibility. This does not eliminate culture. Redirects her. And that allows a new behavior. Without completely breaking identity. Technical lesson: don't destroy deep beliefs. Reframe them. Case 8. Occupation and control by normalization. A busy population can resist. If you perceive chaos. But if you perceive normality. Adapts. So the messages are designed to create routine. Schedules. News. Order. It doesn't matter if the control is artificial. As long as daily life works. Resistance decreases. Because human beings prioritize stability. Technical lesson: perceived stability reduces conflict motivation. Pause. Now yes. Operating inventory. Not general concepts. Applicable principles. 1. Numerical perception can be manipulated by altering standard cues. Gideon. 2. Fear can be externalized to reduce the cost of conflict. Mongols. 3. Morale is controlled by redefining the enemy. World War I. 4. Rumors function as self-replicating systems. 5. Identity can be fragmented by altering its hierarchy. 6. Credibility is built with partial truth. 7. Deep beliefs are not broken. They are redirected. 8. Perceived stability reduces resistance. Conclusion. This is not history. It is manual. None of this disappeared. It just changed shape. Before. Torches. Now. Digital signs. Before. Rumors in camp. Now. Virality. But the system. It is identical. And now you can't say you don't see it. Because you already understood how it works. In the next episode, let's do something more dangerous. Do not analyze. Build. How these operations are designed from scratch. Step by step. Until then, observe patterns. Because now you know exactly what to look for. And that, it's already an advantage.